What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sales Bros Podcast. This is episode number 11. Today, we've got special guest here, Zachary Dingy. He's going to go over a little bit of his story of how he got into solar and what he's doing currently at the moment. So, Zach, without further ado, introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mustafa. You want me to give my background a little bit?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I grew up in New York, right outside of New York City. I'll start with my entrepreneur journey. I graduated high school, went to college for about a month, and then I walked out of college, went to my dad, went downstairs, put on a suit, printed out a contract, and the contract said, if I'm not on track to make $100,000 in the next 12 months, I'll go back to school, I'll finish my 4-year degree, and I'll pay for the whole thing. But Dad, you got to give me 12 months to try and figure something else out because college isn't for me. Printed it all out, got in a suit, walked upstairs to my dad, handed him the contract, and said, sign this. He's like, well, this is a win-win. Either you're going to figure out how to make 6 figures or you're going to go back to school. So I'll sign it. We signed it, and then I started my journey, opened up a few businesses, didn't do well, failed, lost 50 grand on my first business, and then got into solar at 19. And here we are 6 years later. We've done $120 million in sales last year.
Man, that's crazy. So what was that conversation like with him? When you went, like, after you handed him that contract, like, what was his reaction to it? He was just cool letting you do it?
Yeah, so yes and no. I was not the greatest kid. I got suspended a few times selling weed and doing stupid stuff, fights, things like that. So I was always a decently smart kid. Like, I did well in school, in high school. But I definitely was a troublemaker. And I think as most entrepreneurs are, we don't like rules. We hate the constraints of higher powers, whether that's teachers, the government, parents, whoever it is. We don't like to follow rules. So I had that kind of bug where I didn't like to follow rules. And so when I went and had that conversation with my dad, he's like, I mean, he couldn't lose. Either I was going to go back to school and get 4 years, which is what he wanted me to do, or I was going to figure something else out. And my dad was in car sales for 24 years. So, he knows the sales side of the game. And he just said, listen, if you're going to try something, then go try it. And if you're going to fail, then fail. And if you're going to succeed, then you're going to succeed. But you're 18 years old. You don't know what the hell the world has to offer for you. So I get it. I understand college isn't for you. And I can't hold you to it. So thankfully, he kind of let me do my thing and figure it out on my own. And it worked.
I got you. That's cool, man. So you mentioned that you started a few businesses. What was the first business that you started?
Yeah. So when I was 16, I guess 17 in high school, I was doing drop shipping, which I think was the big thing back then. And maybe it still is, but I started a couple of drop shipping companies. Like I had motorcycle gear company. So it was helmets and pads and leather pants, things like that. And someone would buy it from the website. It would pull it from Alibaba or some other foreign website and then ship it directly to them, and I'd keep the difference. I did that for a year or so and didn't really make much money at all. And then I bought a franchise to a company called Master Networks, which is a phenomenal company, but it just didn't work. Probably because of my ignorance at the time when I was 18 years old, trying to run a company in a state that I'm not from. And it was essentially like a networking organization. Do you know what a BNI is?
No, I don't.
BNI group? Okay. So you would have to create a chapter in a town. So one of the towns in Connecticut that I bought the franchise for was Ridgefield, Connecticut. So I'd have to go to Ridgefield. I'd get a roofer. I'd get an insurance guy. I'd get a banker. I'd get a solar guy. I'd get someone in health insurance, someone in life insurance, all these different spheres of business. And then we'd create what we call the chapter. Everyone would pay a membership fee. And our job was to do business trainings once a week and then to share referrals with each other. So like solar and roofers work well, right? Bankers and insurance. So I did that. I bought the franchise for the state of Connecticut. So I ran the entire state. I bought it for way too much money. And I bought it with a partner. My partner, 2 weeks after I started business, I was 18, 57. 2 weeks after I started, he dissolved his entire side of the partnership and left me high and dry. And then a year later, I couldn't make it successful, and I sold it back to the company for net negative $45,000. So lost 45 grand on my first business at 18.
Yeah, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
Not
so you
great.
did drop shipping, then you opened this up and sold it for a net or a negative 45 grand. From there, is that how you got into solar right after that?
Yeah, luckily I found solar while I was doing Master Networks. It did go hand in hand a little bit. It was a lot of what Master Networks taught me. Everything is for a reason, right? Everything happens in your life for a reason, for you, not to you. And at 18, I ran a business that was all about networking with people, meeting new people, and going out and creating relationships. So through that, I was able to find somebody who was doing solar at the time. The company was brand new, and they really had nobody with them. They were just the install leg of solar. And if people know solar industry, they'll know what I'm talking about. You have install companies, and then you kind of have a separate sales company, or you can combine them. Well, this company had just the install side. So I got brought in through somebody else. Me and that person ended up basically creating the entire sales arm for the company. And, we took it from 0 sales reps all the way up to, we have about 85 sales reps right now. And we took it from $10 million a year to about $120 million a year. And yeah, purely through networking, meeting the right people and just happening to be at the right place, right time, and making the right connection.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great story, man.
Yeah. And they took a chance on me. I was 19. I had definitely some fire in me, and I wanted to be successful, and they could feel that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you a little side story of this is the guy who brought me in, a week after he brought me in, got a DWI and left. He went away. So the next person in line ended up becoming my partner. The guy's name is Gio. He's 54 years old, and I was 19 at the time, so big age gap. And he sat down with me and he interviewed me. And his interview, am I allowed to curse?
Go ahead.
Okay. His interview was, kid, you're 19 years old. You're a waste of my fucking time. I don't know why you're in my office. You're going to sell one system and you're going to go back to your parents' basement and I'll never see you again. You're going to make one big paycheck and that's it for you. And I said, with all due respect, sir, that's incorrect. And he said, basically, get out of my office. You're wasting my time now. Threw me out. I went back to the guy who brought me in and I said, can I just knock on doors for you? Like, I want to sell solar. I think I can make a lot of money here. So he said, okay. 1 week goes by. I knocked on a couple doors, set some appointments. That guy goes and gets a DWI, goes away. I go back to the original guy who had interviewed me and told me no. And then I said, yo, I got appointments. I got sales. Like, can you help me? I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, I'm not helping you. I'm like, all right. So I guess I'll figure it out on my own. So I ended up selling 10 deals in my first 3 months, which broke the company's record. And then me and that guy started getting along. And then a year or two later, I became the manager, then the regional sales manager, then a director, and took over the entire sales arm with him. And now me and him are partners. So pretty crazy.
Okay, got you. And how much did you make on those first 10 deals? Like what that kind of commission look like?
So I lost money on my first deal, which I think is an important thing to say.
Okay.
Our structure, what we have in our sales arm is you're an independent contractor. So you're very much an intrapreneur, which is, you're an entrepreneur, but you're inside of a business and you don't have to put up the money, but everything else is entrepreneur. We get all our own leads. We do all our own marketing. We handle the customer the whole time. We do the whole thing, right? We just don't have to fork up the money to buy the panels. So my first deal, I made net zero. I made $0 on it. I screwed up the pricing. And then I told the customer I was going to give them a $700 check to cover some stuff for their house. And so I made nothing and then paid them $700. And I'm like, this sucks. But then after that, I made, let's see, probably about 35,000 in 3 months, in my first 3 months there, but with about 10 deals.
That's awesome, man. And like, what would you say is like the biggest lesson you learned from those first 3 months, or like, what do you attribute that success to as well?
Yeah, a lot of it was pure ignorance, man. I'd love to sit here and tell you I had it all figured out at 19, but I was very lucky to find the right person, this older guy who knew the sales world very well. He has the highest social EQ I've ever met in a person in my life. He understands human beings at the highest level. So, and I was blessed for him to tell me that I couldn't do it. For him to say, I'm not going to hire you. I'm not going to waste my time with you. You're a waste of my energy. And, you know, coming from sports background and the way some of us are wired, we're very competitive. So I was extremely competitive. That pissed me off. And that was a big thing to me. Number one, him telling me I couldn't do it is a big reason why I was able to be successful. And I don't know what would have happened if he would have brought me on and told me, yeah, here you go. Here's some leads, like, and really helped me. And number two was he set a standard for me that was very high because he told me you're not going to be hired. And then I would call him and ask him questions, and he's like, listen, your job is to go out and talk to 50 people a day. Your job is to have 50 conversations with qualified homeowners every day, 7 days a week, and don't call me unless you don't do it. And later I come to find out the company standard was to do 20 conversations 5 days a week and to have 100 conversations in a week. Where he told me I had to have 50 7 days a week, which was 350 conversations. And me being 19 years old, looking up to this guy, not knowing there's a difference and not meeting anyone else on the team, he set the standard so high for me that then when I got in and realized what everyone else was doing, you know, I was ahead of everyone because I knocked on 30 times more doors. I've been in way more kitchen tables. I did way more work, but I didn't know I was working hard. I thought that's what I had to do, you know? So it all works out, you know?
No, that's perfect. And I actually want to touch on that, the first point you made, because that's really key. So I have a sports background as well. And I feel like people actually need that to be able to continue through and pushing through in sales, because you're going through all these ups and downs emotionally, right? Customers giving you BS and all this kind of stuff. And then you said he challenged you, and that's what made you really push for it, right? You don't know how you would have been if he gave you everything. If someone wanted to get into solar or sales in general, right? Would that be like the number one advice you give them, or we'll take it from there?
Number one advice in what, like to be competitive or to like where to
Be able
look?
to, like, to be able to push through and have some success in sales. Like,
To
what
be
do you
successful.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you, when now my position is very different. I'm bringing people on, training and recruiting all over the country. Um, Now I look for people that are in sports. If I find somebody that has a sports background, that's like they're almost guaranteed to be successful. Um, and in the kind of sales we're in, which is direct door-to-door sales, where you're an independent contractor and you're very much on your own, not like if you're in car sales, you know, or I'm not shitting on car sales, but just a form of sales, Verizon phone sales, where you're in a store, you show up, your manager's there, your boss is there, you're in this store, people are walking in to buy phones, buy cars, whatever, and you kind of have to be there. And there's a lot of what's not discipline. There's a lot of checks and balances because you're under this building and you have to be in that building. Where our position, they're out in the field every day. They're knocking out in, you know, different areas and towns, and I'm not looking over their shoulders. I have to hire that person who is very hungry and very competitive, because if not, they're going to go out and fail because it's door to door. It's very hard, and they're out in the field. They're not in the office with me. I don't know how hard they're working. You know, I only see their numbers, but they can fudge their numbers and they can lie. So I got to look for those people that are extremely competitive and have that edge and have that tenacity of, like, you know, in today's world, most people don't have that grit and that competitive drive and that kind of FU mentality. I'm going to go get it done no matter what someone else says. I think 80% of people in the world, if not more, a guy tells them, you'll never be successful. You're a waste of my time in an interview. Most people, that's like detrimental to their life now. Like if you get told one negative thing, it's like you should just lay in your bed now and cry for a week and not do anything because somebody told you that you can't do something. And so to answer your question, that was a long answer, but yeah, competitive drive is extremely important. And it's honestly the only thing I look for today. I don't care if they have any sales experience. I don't care if they've ever done anything. I don't care if they're 18 or 47 or 80 for all I care. If they have hunger and they're competitive and they have that drive, I'll hire you 10 times out of 10.
Got you, man. And then, okay. Yeah. So since you're running that entire sales arm, right? What's your, like, what would you say your goal is for the next like 5 to 10 years, whether it's with the company or, doing or pivoting to something else? Like, where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Yeah. Solar industry is a fast changing industry. There's a lot of adapting you have to do, and there's new technology, new tax credits, new government laws all the time. So all I can tell you is, and I say this to my team all the time, something that you're at Valuetainment, you've probably heard many times before, is your mission and your vision. And my mission in this company, in my life now, is not necessarily to be the number one solar company in the world. I think your mission should be your North Star, right? Like that's what you're chasing. So if I'm chasing just to be the number one solar company or get the most deals or make the most money, I think that North Star can lead to some bad practices or overall not the best outcome for life. Because if all I'm thinking about is how can I make the most money, I'm probably going to do some stupid stuff along the way just to make a dollar. So my mission, my vision, my goal for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even the rest of my life is truly just to bring these people into our company. We have a fantastic culture of winners and people that want to help each other and people that want to go out and change their lives. My dad sells solar for me now. I got, 7 or 8 guys that I went to high school with that they were making $60,000 a year. Now they're making $3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $800,000 a year selling solar here. And my mission is to change people's lives and to make a massive impact on their lives for the rest of their life. So I want to bring somebody in, and maybe solar's only around for 3 years, but when they come in here and they learn and we read books, we study, we do podcasts, we hit the gym, we do all the right things that make you a better human being. I want that person to go have a ripple effect on the world and to go make other people like us, people that work hard, people that are good citizens, people that do right by everyone else and live with good intentions, because I don't think we have a lot of that today. And I think if we do that, and I do that more and more and more, I think I will get to the sales numbers and the goals and the things I want to hit. But I think we're going to make a much bigger impact doing it that way, rather than just chasing the numbers and the dollar figures.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you're putting purpose basically over specific numbers and things like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. Forgive me for a second. It's interesting that you said your dad's selling solar for you now.
Yeah.
That turnaround from you going over to him and handing him that contract to him now working for you in solar, that's got to be crazy. Like, what's your relationship with him like now?
Yeah, I have a lot of very interesting relationships, I feel like. My dad, obviously my father of, he's 58 years old now, 59 years old, 59. He's 59 years old. And he was in car sales for 24 years. And at 2.5 years ago, so about 2 years ago after our discussion and me starting, he saw me making some big paychecks. I made more than he ever made in 24 years of car sales. I did it more than that in my second year in solar. And so he's like, what the? First of all, he had to come and make sure I wasn't doing anything illegal, because he was like, there's no way. You're 20 years old. Like, how are you making more money than me? And then he came in and I was his manager. I was his mentor. It was a very weird time in our relationship. He was also going through a divorce with my mother at that time. So, I'm 20. I'm still learning the world, and I still am today, but definitely at 20, I was learning a lot more than I am now. Lived a lot of life since then. But I'm 20. I bring in my father. He's going through it. He's divorcing my mother. He's quitting car sales at 24 years. And his 20-year-old son is mentoring him and managing him and reprimanding him if he does something wrong. And, it was very, 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 very weird for a long period of time. And, now I have a great relationship with my father, which I always have, but it's had its bumps and it's been a little weird at times. And now it's great. Now he's one of my managers in one of my offices and he's fully bought in. He does a great job. And now we're best friends, but we have a very unique relationship. Being that I'm the director of the company that he works for and the success I've been able to have at 25, that's what I think every boy that turns into a man, every man is really trying to accomplish in life. For the most part, 99% of guys are trying to make their father proud, not their mother. Yeah, they love their mother. They want to do good for their mother. But most of us with good, strong fathers are really just trying to make their fathers proud. So it's been super unique and inspiring and liberating to have my father watch inside the company I work for to grow it from where we've been. So it's now phenomenal and we have an amazing relationship. But now we're like friends, It's not that same relationship it used to be.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. That's a key point there. I do think that whether guys acknowledge it or not, they are definitely chasing the father's validation. That is facts.
And that's what we should be doing. Like back in the day, when you went to war or we were Spartans or whatever, right? You would announce yourself as, "Hey, I'm Zach, son of Glenn Dingy." Yep. I would brag about my father and introduce my father as like who I am,
Yeah.
And back in the day too, even in like you go 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, the sons always followed in their father's footsteps. If I was a blacksmith or if my father was a blacksmith, that's what I did. If you were in car sales, I was in car sales, and that's how it was. And just recently in the last 20, 30 years, we've gotten away from like following in our father's footsteps and not respecting our fathers like we used to. And we can go on a whole nother topic, but it's a big reason why we're seeing a decline in a lot of things in America.
No, absolutely. We should also do another show where we go into some of that other stuff. Some social issues and things like that. Totally.
I'm down.
That'd go crazy. But but yeah, no, that's cool. So now your dad's working for you, and then you also said you're helping out your friends. So your friends are employed by you as well, and now you're allowing them to tap into income streams or income numbers that they haven't seen before. That's got to be an incredibly fulfilling feeling, right? Because I heard this the other day, but someone was saying the American dream. Everyone thinks the American dream is owning a house, but really it's owning a business. And then, but really about owning a business is you're employing others, and now you're responsible for other people's lives and their families, right? That's got to be. So tell me a little bit about that experience, like maybe what it's like for you to be able to give the opportunity like that to your friends, and then allow them to access a better life. So that's got to be great.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. And great question. So, I mean, it's everything. It's literally everything. It would be it. I wouldn't feel any accomplishment. I would be empty inside if I went and made this money and left all my friends behind. I don't think that's the right way to do it. So, I recruited all my high school friends. I try to bring everyone in. Some people failed. Some people couldn't do it. This is not an easy position. But the ones that could, I believe you help yourself, then you help your family, then you help your friends, and then you help your community. And then if you really want to keep going up from there, you can start changing the world, helping globally or even just in your country, whatever it is. You go serve in the military or sorry, not serve in the military, serve in government and try to change laws and make the world a better place. But it starts with yourself. You got to help yourself first. Then you got to go help your family. Then it's friends. And then you go to the community and you keep going up and up from there. And at some point, maybe you're done, but bringing your friends along and bringing the people that you want to help is huge. Like I tell people I tell our managers now. I have 6 managers that are underneath that I manage them managing guys. And I tell them all the time, our job is to change people's lives, and you have to go and find the people that know and trust you first, and go help them first. When I started, the first 3 people I brought in were 3 of my best friends. And I said to them, hey, listen, I know you think about me as who I am right now, your friend and what we have, but things like we're in business now and we're going to be successful and we're going to have a certain level of respect and discipline and things we do in this company that are going to get us to where we're going to get to. But they also give you amazing culture. When you have the right friends, people that come on and they do succeed and they do it the right way, those people that are your friends that you took from $40,000 a year to $500,000 a year, they will go recruit sales members. They will go make amazing culture. They'll go help because they're your friends and they feel a certain way towards you and they want to help everyone. So they bringing in my friends and them succeeding and them being around, that's created so much of the culture because now we have this family friend mentality. And when new people come in, they just succumb to this mentality and this culture. So I think that's been a big piece of our puzzle as to why we've been able to be successful and why we've grown such an amazing culture is because a lot of the people that I bring in, like I bring in my friends and then those people go bring in their friends and then those people go bring in their friends. So we don't do a lot of online recruiting or things like that. It's very organic. People come from, the other guys who are already in, and now everyone's friends. But the point I want to make is it's a balance. If I'm somebody's director or manager, we'll just call it, if I'm the manager and I have my friend, it can be very hard to reprimand him. And if I don't reprimand and discipline that person the right way, he can also ruin the culture. So, let's say one of my guys does something wrong and I've known him for 10 years of my life before Solar. I will call him up and say, hey, XYZ, hey, John, I'm your manager right now. I'm not your friend. Are you ready? Because we're about to have a conversation. Yes, we're ready. Okay, cool. Then I'll tell him what I say. And then at the end, hey, John, I love you, right? Okay. I needed to tell you that because this is not okay. Don't let it happen again. Okay, cool. All right, John, have a good day. Goodbye. That's a hard balance. It's not easy for most people.
No, that's an interesting point though. I was actually just about to ask you because it actually segues perfectly because you were saying, okay, so I was about to ask you what's like the most difficult part about being a sales leader? Because being a sales leader in general is going to be tough, right? Handling all that responsibility. But on top of that, you're managing people that are like one is your dad and two's friends, right? So that's got to be tough. I was reading a book called Trillion Dollar Coach, and like one of the key points was let them know they love you, or not, sorry, let them know that you love them, right? Like what you just said at the end there. I thought that was key. So I was going to ask you just to tell the audience a little bit, like, what would you say is like the most difficult part about being a sales manager, and then also a couple of strategies that you have to keep everyone in check, but also in the right headspace.
Yeah, it's a good question. You got to create a standard. You have to create a standard. People can't just do whatever they want and say whatever they want. Well, they can say whatever they want. It's America. They can say whatever the hell they want, but they can't do whatever they want. You can't show up late to my meetings. You can't come here in slippers and, you can't have a small number of sales. You have to have a certain number of sales per quarter, per month, per week, whatever. You got to do a certain amount of helping out with the team. You got to show up to events. You got to do all these standards where we create a bottom standard. And I will tell you, I fired my best friend 3 years ago because he wasn't living up to the standard that we wanted as a company. And he thought because he was my best friend that he can get away with these things. And I said multiple times, John, you can't do this. John, you can't do this. John, you can't do this. John, we have all these people. They know you're my best friend. And I don't play the fucking political games where just because you're my best friend, you could do whatever you want in this company. I say you should be the one setting the standard and the tone and saying, hey guys, don't be late to Zach's meeting. But instead, you taking advantage of it. And I'm not okay with that. So things had to happen. So you got to have a level of standards, but then at the same time, you have to always show your guys love and show them your appreciation, to make sure they know you care about them. And it's not all about business. It is about friendships. And it's a very fine line to balance and very, very difficult. You have to truly, I think number one, you have to genuinely and truly care about these people. I don't care if they sell soul fruit. I don't care if they sell another deal for the rest of their lives. I care about these people. I want to help them. I want them to succeed. And I think it starts with that. And then showing love. We do quarterly incentives. We're going to Puerto Rico next month. We rented a 15-house Airbnb on the water. We bring all the guys out. We've handed out Rolexes. I've given so many prizes I can't even count. We do so many competitions. We just had a field day yesterday. We did the Plug PV softball tournament where we bring out all the guys and we play a softball game. Next week, we got a basketball tournament and a kickball tournament. We're always doing things to create culture and create friendships and things. But again, at the same time, before all that, there needs to be standards set. You set the standards. You do not change the standard. You do not deviate from there. And then you can show the love, the culture, and all the fun things to do. But like, I don't care. My father shows up late to a meeting, I'm snapping. Right there in front of everyone. Don't fucking be late to my meeting again. We are here at 9 o'clock, not 9:01. Okay? Shut the door. Anyone else who comes in, send them home. Don't allow them in. So it's a fine line though. Not easy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can imagine, man. That's incredible, man. One day, hopefully, I'll be in a similar position where I'm running a team and things like that. I'm looking forward to it. I think that'd be amazing opportunity.
It's an amazing thing.
Amazing opportunity. Zach, man, I appreciate your time today. I thought you brought a lot of great nuggets to the table that people can learn from. Where can they find you if they want to hit you up or look for you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, zacdingee, ZACDINGEE. And then on YouTube, I have a podcast as well called Two Dudes Three Legs, which Mustafa, I'd love to have you on. I'll actually be in Florida soon, so maybe we'll do it in person. We'll talk after.
Yeah.
But yeah, Two Dudes Three Legs is our podcast channel, and then Zach Dingy is where you can find me on Instagram.
Okay, perfect, man. Zach, I loved having you on, man. This was one of my favorite interviews for sure. And we'll definitely get some set up in Florida when you come down, and we'll have you on again for sure.
Cool. Well, Mustafa, I appreciate you, man. And the last message I got for everyone is, go do your thing. Go do whatever it is you want to do. If you want to, in the world today, everyone tries to put constraints on people and tell you how to live your life and tell you when you should be hitting the gym and when you should do things. And, I work a lot. That's all I really do. I work and I go to the gym. And people think I'm crazy, and people are like, oh, you're going to burn out, or, oh, I don't know how you live that life. That's what I enjoy to do. That's just what I like to live my life, and I'm going to do it. And I respect everyone else, what they want to do. If you want to smoke weed, if you want to go play basketball all day, if you want to be in the gym all day, if you want to go sit at your computer and play video games, I really don't give a shit. Do whatever it is that you feel is going to get you to the best life you can. But when you do it, you got to do it to the fullest extent, because I think a lot of people just play life on easy mode. And in 30, 40, 50, 60 years, when it comes to the end, I think they're not going to be very happy. So do whatever makes you happy.
Love that, man. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Mustafa.
All right, everybody. Peace, man. Take care.
Take care.